Welcome to The Business Fighter with Henry Penix. Henry has been the CEO, founder, and consultant to hundreds of companies worldwide. He retired a multimillionaire, financially independent at the age of 35. Henry grew up a preacher's son and was thrown in jail 3 times for various altercations. He knows what it means to come from nothing and have to fight his way to the top. Henry is the business fighter who will teach you strategic skills for winning in business and in life. Don't just spectate, participate. It's time to get in the ring.
Hey, it's Henry Penix, the business fighter, bringing you another podcast. I've got a guest on with me today. We've already shared some things we have in common. We're going to get into that more during the podcast. This guy went from rags to riches, went from the ditches to wealth, and he's invited us on that journey to follow him, not from a book that he's read, but from a life that he's led. You're going to love this guy. You're going to love what he stands for. He's got real heart. I ask all my guests to drop some gold nuggets on my audience that they too can learn from and glean from, because that's what it's all about. Sharing is caring. With that, Johnny Wimbrey, welcome to the Henry Penix Business Fighter Podcast.
Let's go, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for the introduction. I'm honored to be here, and I'm more honored to be able to serve the purpose in which you set your show up to do.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I promise my viewers all the time that unless somebody's got the heart, they don't even get on this show. There's too less of time. We have to be careful what we spend our time on. But the first 5 minutes I talked to you, I felt like I've known you forever. And
likewise.
And I know if I feel that you do have that heart, and you do have that not just heart, but the passion to get it out and to help other people. So tell me, I didn't read a lot about you. I've heard some about you. Kind of give me the beginning. Where did Johnny start from? What made you get up and go? And then let's turn that into some lessons for the audience.
Absolutely, man. You know, my first memory in life was living in a battered women's shelter. Was raised around gangs and violence, my entire childhood life, and made a lot of bad decisions. There are things that have happened to me in my life growing up that, I had no control over. I had no control over a battered women's shelter. It wasn't my fault that I was there. I didn't do anything to contribute to being there. However, there are many things in my life where I did contribute. You say rags to riches, that's a really good way of saying it, from tragedy to triumph to overcoming adversity. And I one of the things that I'm very transparent about is, there are many things that I participated in my life on my own will. I'm not the victim of it. I subscribe to it on my own will. And, one of those things is, I wanted out, and you don't know what you don't know, like my mentor, Les Brown, says. And I didn't know any other way. We knew what was around us, and beginning to sell, drugs as a teenager, and had a felony arrest. A lot of, obstacles that I had to jump over. But the truth is, many of those obstacles I subscribed to. I got a brother serving 40 years in prison right now, and the only difference is I didn't get caught. So I'm not better than anybody that's listening to me that has, a past like that. But I am saying that, one of my taglines is, I'm not going to allow my past to determine my future.
Sure. No, I believe in that 1,000%. You've already said 2 or 3 things that we have in common with getting in trouble when we were young.
Yeah.
Part of my bio is, I went from having nothing. We were so poor that the poor people called us poor. When we had to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, we had to lick other people's fingers.
No,
that was kind of the epitome of poor. And I've been an ambassador to the United Nations, so kind of that whole that whole road. But everybody in between, like you, Johnny, they all put on their pants the same way. They all have the same struggles. And you hit the nail on the head. You said you can either blame your past or you can focus on your future.
Yeah.
I saw a movie, an old movie called Gumball Rally. And this Italian driver, he said, what is behind me is not important. And he reaches up and he rips down his rearview mirror. And I've used that as kind of an example for life, man. Rip down that rearview mirror and move forward. Focus on your future.
Sure.
Learn from your past. Sure. The only stupid thing you could do is not learn from your past, but learn from it and then move forward in it. But man, the struggles, myself, I'm a pastor's kid and I've been in jail 3 times as well. And the
You
only
know what's funny is I knew you were connected to ministry in some shape, form, or fashion.
no kidding.
I already knew it.
Are you?
And I've been arrested 5 times.
Oh, you got me beat. All right. It's going to be a one-up interview now. Yeah, is that something we can be proud of?
Let's go.
But now, have you been in the ministry? Any yourself? Or had some experience with that?
Not from my parents, but my brother and I, we started going to church when maybe like 7th and 8th grade. And we went because there were girls there, and we were actually the reason that our parents started going to church, because we invited them. My brother got super serious about it. My brother's an ordained minister. He's 11 months older than I am. I got a brother in prison. I got a brother 11 months older than I am. My brother in prison is 2 years older than I am. We got the same parents. And my brother Willie, we go to church and he gets serious about it. I'm like, dude, we're here for the girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been ordained since he was 18, man.
So you've got an ordained minister brother and another one that's in prison.
Yeah. And I remember, when I was a kid, my brother Willie, I'm like, man, smoke this, drink this, do something, bro. You're making me look bad. I'm the baby boy and you're making me look bad. Yeah. He was just that kid, man. If there was a 13th disciple, it would be Willie.
And I feel the same about my sister. She was like the white sheep of the family. I was the black sheep. So it just like worked out that way in my whole life. And I blame it on but I appreciate the fact that I was just curious, and that curiosity has led me into more opportunities than I would have ever got any other way. I don't believe a lot in religion because there's 3,000 or 4,000 different ones, but I do believe in your creator. I do believe in that. I do believe in the golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do unto you and all that. But man, good. So we're going to have some fun during this interview.
Man, that'll be a great topic right there, brother. Like the religion piece alone, man, I could stay there for a minute.
Yeah. Well, we can hang out there, man. I know Les, you said one of your mentors was Les Brown, and one of mine was Zig Ziglar. And I've
great
T.D. Jakes a couple times. He's a great
Bishop Jakes is a personal mentor of mine.
Inspiration. Yeah.
Hands on.
Pearson from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I grew up in his church, and his movie that he just had last year on Netflix.
I forgot to watch that. I'm so glad you just said that.
You should.
It was on my list.
Yeah, I traveled with him, and we released that in a few different cities. And
what was the guy that used the music guy? Dark hair. White cat.
Yeah,
Gary Oliver. No.
He was the white.
I know Gary Oliver. He's in Fort Worth now. He has a church in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
There was another guy that was more mainstream.
A white guy?
Yeah, I just can't remember. Anyway, but Carlton Pearson is a very fascinating person.
Okay, now there was a guy who didn't go to the church, but it was Carmen.
He was on everything. I'm pointing that way because the dude
who went everywhere. Yeah,
I forgot about him. Wow.
He was out on his own and did a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so that I grew up in that. So we're. What
do you think about Carlton Pearson? And I'm turning the interview over. What do you think about somebody who stood so strong on what they believe and lost almost everything in terms of the limelight?
Yeah. Well, I think that proved that he really believed what he believed.
Wow.
And his pivot point was based on unconditional love.
Come on, man.
So if you really watch that movie and get into that story, you'll see if it was to get other money or fame or fortune or girls or whatever, that's one thing. But because he put everything on the line to express what unconditional love meant to him, and that he served a God of unconditional love and not one of torture and torment for the rest of your life. He said, how can grace endure forever? How can his mercies endure forever? And him also want to punish you in a burning hell forever. So they kind of contradict each other. And the more I got listening to him, like I said, I was a friend. I grew up in the church, and I was one of the guys that didn't abandon him. I didn't believe with everything that he said, but as we kept talking and discussing, because he was growing through this as well, we came to an amazing understanding about the unconditional love of God, and opened my eyes, opened his eyes. And it was a heck of a path, man. I mean, it was something.
Man, I
didn't know this interview was going to go there. But
I know, I'm loving this, man. Cool. We may go too deep, so we got to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through a situation in 2019 that's bled over into 2020 where I found myself standing very firm for my personal beliefs when it comes to business. I believe if you got to lie to people, manipulate, or step on people to become successful, to me, that is not success. And I stood on something in 2019, and ultimately the same people that I helped become successful, and I'm talking about these people were, broke when I met them. Some of them are millionaires today under my coaching, under my teaching, and under my seminars. And when I walked away from this one thing, I walked away from millions.
Yeah.
Because I pray to God, I never put money before my principles. And those same people that I helped build up and elevate
left you.
Not just left, began to tear me down.
Oh, dude.
Very similar to Carlton Pearson.
Dude, you guys should talk. We should all three talk sometime.
I would love that.
I'll send you an interview I did with him. It's on, just watch one of my podcasts with Carlton Pearson, Henry, the business fighter, and Carlton Pearson. I did it in one of my homes, and it's, a lot I do via Zoom like we're doing today.
Yeah.
But I did that one in my home. We shot it with a couple cameras, and it was, I listened to it over and over because it so touches my heart. I mean,
I'm gonna find
listen to that twice.
Yeah.
Then call me. Then let's all three get on a phone call.
Man, I would love that. I would love that, man.
It'll be, and we'll even record it. I'll bring us all in, and that's cool. So, man, I feel like this is just us getting to know each other. I hope the audience. So the golden nuggets that we've dropped so far is, if you're really standing for something, stand for it no matter what. If you
Absolutely.
enter into an agreement or enter into something that you really believe in, no matter what it costs you, no matter what it affects. One of my mentors, Paul J. Meyer, out of Waco, Texas,
I know who he is.
Taylor and all that. He passed away a few years ago, but he told me, he said, Henry, I was in a deal. We needed to raise $10 million. I got 9 buddies to each pitch in $1 million, and I pitched in $1 million. And he said, we committed to this guy the $10 million. About 70% through the agreement, we found out that it was kind of falling apart a little bit. It may take another shape. Still not dead, but it didn't look good. And everybody took back their $1 million. So what did Paul do? He put in everybody's $1 million for them to keep his word and to keep his honor. And he wasn't paid back on that deal, but a deal after that, he made 10 times that. He was up in the tens of millions. And I know we could both share story after story about that, but for the listeners right now, man, when you commit to something, when you give your word, I tell people when they ask me, well, do you have this in writing? The contract's only as good as the person signing it. When you get that feeling in your heart about somebody, like they're really going to pull through, they're really going to do what they say they're going to do, that to me will stand over any contract you could ever sign. And the contract is only as good as the person signing it.
Absolutely.
So watch your connections, watch the people you bring into your life, watch the people you open up to. And with those people, with the right people, you can do wonderful things. With the wrong people, you're going to have problems.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
You get that feeling about people.
Yeah. What do you do when you feel that? Like, what are some, here I go, turning the interview around again.
No, we're together here.
For me, I've just taken a lot of pride that my yes and no is not for sale. My no is really my no, and my yes is really my yes, and it can't be purchased.
Yeah.
And
that also happens to be biblical. Let your yeses mean yes and your no's mean no.
Absolutely. And last year I lived it. You do what you do, I do what we do. We help people, we empower people, but it's different when your words have to be practiced in the now, right? Personal development, the thing about personal development is it's not for what's going on right now. It's the preparation so you can prepare for the now. So all these things that I'm known to say, and I would say between 2017 and 2019, I had to become the message that I bring. I was a walking, talking billboard of most of the principles that I teach of success.
Right.
And there are times I've never hit my knees until I saw negative $1 million in one of my accounts. Like I literally hit my knees.
Yeah.
And when you hit your knees, man, when you fall down, one or two things happen. Two things happen. You either get back up the same person or you get back up somebody different. And I got back up someone different, dust myself off, got out of victim mode.
Yeah.
get out of, out of that the victim mode, man. And I can feel myself wanting to stay there and remembering, I would, me on stage. It's not what happens to you. It's what you allow to happen in you when it happens to you. And I'm on my knees, man. I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that right now.
Anybody plays that back to me, I will smack them in the face.
All right, get out of here with that.
Well, victimized and energized are on two opposite ends of the spectrum. So when you're victimized, you don't have the energy. All your energies go toward finding out why it happened. If you ask your brain the question, your brain will answer it. Why am I in this condition? Why did this happen to me? Why am I so poor? Why am I so underprivileged? Why am I in this mess? And your brain will go, dude, you messed up here, you did that. But if you ask your mind questions, how can I be grateful for this? What can I learn from this? What's my next step going to be to get out of this? Your brain will also answer you. And that thing on the inside of you that I do believe in God. I do feel like I follow the unctions of the Holy Spirit, and I feel that inside of me. And when I get those unctions, dude, I follow them, and they may not work out the way that I think they're going to, but they always work out better than they would have if I hadn't have listened to that. And I believe all things work together for the good. So I'm that guy that, I've been slapped down as well. I've had the negative accounts. I've had people come against me. I'm in a lawsuit right now with a little company called Apple.
Jeez.
So you battle $1 trillion company, and you're 2.5 years into it, and you've had everything pulled against you, and they're attacking your technologies. They're doing this, they're doing that. But I know I'll be the victor. Like, I know it. There'd be on a shadow of a doubt. If I have to give everything up, I will be the victor in that, because I'm going to stand for what's right.
Yeah.
No matter what, the best I'm going to stand for all those other people who couldn't stand.
Yeah. I wish you the best, man. I find myself in a situation where, I'm up against $1 billion company, definitely not as big as Apple. However,
I just slap you with the 3 times versus 5 times in prison. You're up against $1 billion. I'm up against $1 trillion. Is that?
Yeah, you got me. You got me on that one,
Johnny. I didn't quite hear it.
No, I'm billion with a B. God, please never allow me to have to fight $1 trillion company or $1 trillion industry.
No, I hear you. I'm just playing.
Yeah. No, man. But I mean, I dig that. One of the principles that I teach, and some of the quotes that I say have actually become my favorite quote, but they weren't my favorite quote until people started repeating what I was saying. And I'm like, wow, there's power in that. And one of the things is, it is a biblical principle. I surround myself around the thinking that outthinks me. And that's been my security blanket for success. And another way of saying it is, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Yep. And I kind of read scripture or ancient writings in a way, kind of almost like a riddle. I do believe that there are a lot of riddles that have been left for us to master.
Metaphors and things.
Yeah. And what it says, in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. So read it backwards. If you don't have counsel, you're in danger. So I have established all of my businesses around counsel.
Good. Great. Another golden nugget, man.
Around counsel, 100%.
Wow. No, I love it. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing today, where I feel like the last 15, 20 minutes, in 5 minutes, we'll probably do a part 2 here. And
yeah, we have a danger of going.
No, man. Tell me what you're doing, man. Tell me what lights you up today, how you're helping other people.
I'm glad you said that. How I'm helping people. The season that I'm in right now is elevating people. What Les Brown has done for me, what Bishop T.D. Jakes has done for me, even having access to Zig Ziglar. I spoke to the Zig Ziglar Corporation twice while he was still alive. I want to do what was done for me in a more powerful way. And here's what I mean by that. You think about somebody like Fantasia. Think about, Ruben Studdard. Think about Susan Boyle. Yep. We would not know their name today without the platforms of the American Idols, the X Factor, The Voice, and all these other. So
and I have technology to get it out.
Absolutely. Yep. You can have the best voice in the world and nobody ever hear it.
Right.
So I begin to help people elevate their voice as a speaker, elevate their voice by becoming published authors. I want to be that stage that elevates the next great. That gets me more excited than anything. I was in a room with Les Brown doing a private coaching session with maybe like 40 or 50 people. And I'm in the room with him. He calls me up to speak. And it's a breakout session. So these people in this room, they paid a different level to be there.
Sure.
And I said, in front of Les, I said, I don't have the desire to be the next Les Brown. And I wasn't thinking what I was saying, but I was wanting to get to a point. I look over, he's crying because he sees me as the one he wants to pass the baton to.
Right.
And what I really meant to say was, I don't want to be gone every day. Like, I'm not the speaker that wants to be on stage every week. I'd rather be with my family. Yeah. But I do want to do stuff like this. Right. I want to do things. I know that my call on my life is to find the next greats.
Yep.
And if I could be a part of that, that is, passing on the legacy of the great Les Brown, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm just in a season of my life where I want to elevate people, help them find their voice, help them find their message, help them fine tune it, and then present them to the world to make sure that I'm protecting them. Les Brown says it's better to be prepared and never called than it is to be called and not prepared.
Yeah.
I want to prepare people for the call, the same way American Idol does, X Factor, The Voice.
Yeah, you from me listening to you right now, and I don't know you personally. I know we're going to be good friends. I can already feel that.
Absolutely.
But from what I've already felt is you're building that bridge from the guys who used to go out and have to spend 5 days a week speaking, and
the legends
go out personally, the legends, the Zig Ziglars, the Les Browns, all those guys, to finding a position where technology and opportunity have come together.
Absolutely.
You can take those certain platforms, train the people to do the job first, and then show them how to get their stuff out there without having to leave their families for 5 days a week, and having some personal time and things like that. So, man, that's amazing. And that's where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, hearing you repeat that back to me, like wakes up a sleeping giant. Because when I say it, I live it, I feel it and live it every day. I know that's my call in my life, but hearing you say it back, man, it just wakes up something in me. I have a call today in Los Angeles about a potential television show, and I don't really get too excited about it anymore because I've been very close 3 times. Yeah. And when I see things like The Prophet, Marcus Lemonis, when I see Shark Tank, like I literally start vibrating inside because that's what I want to do. But I want to do it for first generation entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I want to create, I want to have a show where I'm building and developing and helping first generation entrepreneurs and coaching them and leading them into their destiny. We'll create some drama out of it as well, but we're talking about today. I'm just super excited about creating a stage and a platform to help people develop themselves without having to waste a decade or, millions of dollars in mistakes. And maybe that's a season when I'm 44, maybe when I'm 50, I'll be in a different mindset. But right now I want to help people, man, like just elevate and throw them into the world the right way.
Yeah. No. And you're doing it from experience. Like you don't know.
Absolutely.
And that's something that personally bothers me is when people stand up and say, dude, I can help you. I can get you through this. And they're 25 and they've never had a business. I'm going, when I'm in a plane and I fly millions of miles and there's turbulence, I want to look up there and see a little bit of gray on that pilot's head. Like, dude, I don't want a 25-year-old that's just graduated flight school.
I just pictured a Saturday Night Live skit, man. That would be hilarious. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
But no, man, that's amazing. I was on Shark Tank and I've written a couple of shows like that.
I read that. Really?
We'll talk later off camera.
Yeah.
I'll get that other interview set up. And man, so tell me how people can get a hold of you, how they can hear more about you.
To make it super simple, coachjohnny.com. On social media, everything's at Wimbrey, my last name, Wimbrey. One of the things that I'm working on right now, collaboration books. I'm helping people create their platform and become bestsellers with myself. Les Brown is featured in this book with 22 other people. So I'm helping people do that. If you have a story to tell, if you're thinking about writing a book right now, before you spend any money, let's talk. My office wants to interview you. We're looking for strong stories right now of overcoming adversity, breakthrough, pushing through adversity, anything like that. We want your story. Just simply go to costarauthor.com because we're going to co-star in a book together. We're going to be co-stars along with Les Brown and a few other great individuals. Go to costarauthor.com. Super simple. fill out the form. Our office will call you for an interview, and you'll be talking to me live.
Oh man, that's so cool. You're an exciting guy to talk to. You've got a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, but without the passion, it would be useless. And you've got like double the passion.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
I feel that. I see it. I wish you the best. I know we're going to be talking further in the future.
Man, let's do it.
So from now on out, Johnny, he's my buddy, and we'll probably be coming at you with a lot of things. This is Henry, the business fighter, signing off again. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, whatever social media there is. We're probably on.
Absolutely.
God bless.
Bless you, brother.
See you.